Yeah, one of their employees. Yes. With a lot of
We're here at DEC Region 7 in Syracuse, which covers central New York, southern tier, parts of the Finger Lakes. And as you can see, there are many of us, here with short notice today at the final day of the public comment period on fracking. We're here to tell Governor Cuomo the majority of New Yorkers do not want fracking, and the majority of us that do not want fracking know the only adequate protection is a ban on fracking in New York State. There's no safe way to frack. We need green jobs now. We need safe, green, renewable jobs in New York State. And what we've seen throughout this public comment period is that a majority of New Yorkers are against fracking, and a majority of the people in New York against fracking know that the only adequate protection is a ban on fracking in New York State. We've seen thousands of people come out to the public hearings across New York State. We overflowed all of these hearing centers. We saw that a majority, almost 10 to 1 of the crowd was against fracking. In most of these hearings, the Wall Street Journal reported that we were 4 to 1 in Binghamton, New York, in the southern tier, where they would like to do a lot of fracking. I think that it's a clear message that New York does not want this. The experts, doctors, lawyers, business owners, all are saying the same thing. There's no safe way to frack. So we need to move forward with green jobs now. We need to move forward with a sustainable energy plan for New York State. And we have a few speakers here today to elaborate on how we should move forward in New York State. We have Jean Kessler, City Councilwoman, who was a part of the city ban on fracking in Syracuse.
Thank you very much. We did indeed pass a ban in the city of Syracuse on hydrofracking. And our watershed, Skaneateles Lake watershed where we get our water, is already protected. But today I have actual news from the mayor's office that on the 10th of January, which is yesterday, the city filed additional comments with the DEC asking that the Onondaga Lake watershed, after we've spent about $1 billion cleaning it up, asking that it be included as well. In addition, they're asking that the pipelines that travel from Skaneateles to the city of Syracuse for the water supply also be protected. There are a number of other items, but also a call for all aquifers that are water supplies for significant populations receive the same kind of protection that the city of Syracuse and New York City receive for their watersheds. Fracking is something that makes me think of like when you go to a store and they say if you break it, you bought it. Well, if they break us, we can't fix it. We have seen innumerable problems with contaminated wells, with potential earthquakes, with other dangers that we don't even know about for sure. New York needs to keep the ban on hydrofracking until someone figures out how to do it safely so it doesn't hurt the environment and doesn't hurt people. Syracuse stands for that. The mayor stands for that, and and we know the rest of you stand for it as well. So thank you very much.
Ban fracking now! Ban fracking now! Ban fracking now! Ban fracking now!
We also have Lindsay's here with neighbors of Onondaga Nation.
Ban fracking now!
Neighbors of the Onondaga Nation stand with their neighbors the Onondaga calling for a ban on hydrofracking. We've looked at the impacts across the country, we've looked at the water impact, we've looked at the air impact, and it's just clear that to look for the future generations, this is only a short-term gain and a long-term cost. We here in Central New York have learned a lesson on Onondaga Lake, where we let a company run amok and loot, then you end up paying the cost for many generations to come. We have over 3,500 signatures from Central New Yorkers, all calling for a ban on hydrofracking. We have documented that there's over 1,900 leases signed in Onondaga County, and we're working with those landowners to help them terminate those leases through a series of gas termination workshops. And we look forward to working with people coming through the future to make sure that Central New York is protected from all future generations.
And finally, we have campaign director with statewide anti-fracking organization Frack Action, Julia Walsh.
Today we're holding press conferences in Buffalo, Syracuse, and New Paltz outside of the regional DEC offices. We've come to clearly say to the DEC and to the governor that we indeed are the majority. We're the ones that came out by the thousands to public hearings, and we just found out recently that 10-to-1 New Yorkers in their public comments thus far have said that they are against fracking. In the last 24 hours, those comments have doubled to 20 to at least 40,000 comments. That is the most that any other issue in New York State's history has had as far as a public comment session, and it clearly reiterates the point that New Yorkers are against fracking. Right now, public comments and public awareness have just been raising. We see that Maurice Hinkie, who covers part of Region 7, has come out strongly opposing this document and saying that the withdrawal should happen of the SGIS and thrown out that the DEC needs to go back to the drawing board, and that basically our congressman knows that the EPA has found, there's a study in Pavilion that found that fracking has contaminated Pavilion, Wyoming, and that right now the EPA is doing a study on the impacts of hydraulic fracturing on water supplies. The commissioner of the DEC, Joseph Martens, has said that he's not going to wait for the EPA study, that study isn't going to conclude or give him any more information that he already has, when this administration continues to say that we need to listen to the science. Well, we think that the EPA has something to say about science.
Good.
Basically, all this leaves the governor with a question of whether or not he is going to move forward with this practice and go against the will and the wishes of tens of thousands of New Yorkers who have placed comments to the DEC, who have participated in the public comment session, who are paying attention as earthquakes continue to go and erupt in Ohio, as water contamination spreads across this country, that we don't want this here. New York cannot afford to be a toxic wasteland with thousands of love canals throughout our beautiful state. We need to stop this industry and ban fracking now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ban fracking now! 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 Ban fracking now!
Hydrofracking's got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. Hydrofracking's got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. Hydrofracking's got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. Hydrofracking's got to go.